All right, so now I would like to introduce Violet Wicker. She will continue on with the presentation tonight along with Angie. So Violet and Angie, if you could take a minute to tell us a little bit more about yourself, that would be great before you get rolling.
Very good. Angie, would you like to start?
Sure. My name is Angie Kuhn. Tonight we're talking about the Parent Infant Institute that we offer at the Illinois School for the Deaf every summer, and I am the director of that institute. Also, during the not summer months, I am the principal of the preschool through 8th grade building here at ISD, and I have been working here for about 17 years, I think. That's probably enough about me. Go ahead.
Very good. My name is Violet Weicker, and I am the new family liaison, full-time family liaison for UIC Specialized Care for Children. I recently, if anyone is familiar with Bob Cook, I took his position after he retired last April, and I am the DSCC lead contact person in getting families enrolled with the Institute. So that is kind of why I'm here talking to you guys tonight, to give you a little bit more information about what the Institute is all about. So I guess we're ready to start then, correct? Sure. Okay. I want to thank everyone for calling and logging in. I'm excited to share with you this great opportunity. I was a care coordinator for many years, or a little while before this, and I was able to go with families and kind of see it from a different perspective. So I'm really kind of excited to be able to help lead this up a little bit. What it is it's a very great collaborative event that has many different agencies and programs that put it on. As you see on the first screen of the PowerPoint, if you can see it, it's the University of Illinois Chicago, DSCC, which is who I am, Illinois Department of Human Services, Division of Rehabilitation Services, Illinois School for the Deaf, which is ISD where it's hosted at, Bureau of Part C Early Intervention, the Illinois State Board of Education, and the Illinois Department of Public Health. So there are a lot of agencies and programs really invested in seeing that this program is as successful as it is. They have been around. The Institute has been serving Illinois families for 73 years. And I think throughout those years, there have been a lot of changes and a lot of advancements over the years, but their one main mission has remained the same, and that is that the Institute provides information and support to families so that they can make informed decisions on behalf of their child who is deaf or hard hearing. The Institute was summarized by one parent as saying, "An incredibly useful week to prepare my child for a lifetime of learning." So I think that's important to remember, that it's a great opportunity for families to really be able to empower themselves. Institute has many goals. Their major ones are that they strive, again, to empower families to be able to work with these providers in their school and their primary care physicians and the specialists, and they provide an amazing parenting network opportunities for families who also have families with deaf or hard of hearing children. It provides individuals with written reports and recommendations, and we see a ton of different multiple disciplines used throughout the week. I'm going to move on to the next slide here. And like I mentioned before, I've worked as a DSCC care coordinator for a while, and I always remember the families when they just got that new diagnosis. And it always seems to be the same story, that they were just absolutely devastated. And for me, I think that the biggest thing for what Institute, I think, does is it shows families that they're not alone. And we all need to have that sense of support. So I think for me, that's the most positive and most dynamic thing that comes out of the Institute. Yes, we get a lot of evaluations and a lot of great data and a lot of great information, but they also get this bonding that hopefully they get to carry on way beyond the diagnosis. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the Institute facts. The Institute this year is going to be, check-in is Sunday, June 11th, and wraps up on the afternoon of June 16th. It is held at Illinois School for the Deaf in Jacksonville, Illinois. Families stay at the facility for the week. It is limited to 35 families, parents and their children 6 months of age to up to like the day before their 6th birthday, so a good 5 years of age. And preference is given to children with moderate to profound hearing loss. However, I always say, and I think Angie will agree with this at the end, that if you feel like there's a family that would benefit or your family could really benefit and maybe you don't have that moderate to profound bilateral, but you really think that that information is something that you need, we recommend that you still try to put in an application, and we'll work with you to see if we can get you to qualify. And then the Institute has a sibling program for children under the age of 12. ISD has been very gracious in the past. They were able to accommodate ages 8 and below, and they identified that we believe that they can serve more families if we raise the program up. So I believe, and again, Angie can correct me if I'm wrong in stating this, but they've hired an educator to work with an older population of teenagers or, youth. So that's a wonderful addition, I think, to the Institute this year.
That's correct.
More facts. There is a scholarship awarded for families who attend the entire week. Last year, I believe that, and it's payable by DSCC, that cost, and I don't believe it's changed, is $250 per family. And we also support transportation to and from the Institute. So we will work, either myself or your care coordinator or someone will work with providing the transportation logistics of that. And the Institute is staffed, and we're going to talk a little bit later on about who staffs it, but they're staffed by experts in deafness from all over the state. The most important thing to remember about PSDI is that there's no charge to the family. There's no out-of-pocket expense, none of the evaluations cost. It is a completely free event for the entire family. And another key important point is that referrals to the Institute have to be made through DSCC, and that's where my role comes to help facilitate families being able to apply if they're not with DSCC, and we make that kind of a seamless process so that we can get families enrolled who would benefit from it. But all registrations have to come through DSCC. Now we're going to talk specifically about what happens the week of the Institute. And there's kind of 3 different experiences that happen. You've got the child's experience, you've got the parent's experience, and then you've got the siblings' experience. Obviously, there's a lot of collaboration between the 3 groups, but we're going to just kind of for a second break down the 3 different experiences. The first one's the child. What's the child going to do that week? They're going to go through a psychological evaluation, which I need to note that that psychologist is important because they are a psychologist who specializes with working with the hearing loss population. And I think that is a huge benefit that we're finding people that specialize with our children. They're going to get an audiological evaluation, a vision evaluation, speech and language evaluations, educational evaluations, and then they're going to have early childhood classes, and they're going to play with their peers, and they're going to experience fun family activities. I'm not moving very fast. There we go. Okay, the parent, that is a huge one. The parents are going to have an amazing week that is full of education, networking, and even a little bit of relaxation. I think that knowledge is power, and I believe that most parents, especially with special health care needs, agree with that teach us as much as we can know. And everything that I've heard from parents after the Institute say, oh my, I learned so much information. I wish it was longer, which you'll love to hear. But some of the things that the parents will learn about this week are the anatomy and the causes of hearing loss, how to read an audiogram, which I've always heard that great feedback on. I finally understand how to read my kid's audiogram. Choices in communication methods. They'll talk about sign language classes and cochlear implants, different hearing aid technologies, what it's like growing up deaf. They'll talk about assistive technology, what happens with sibling relationships, toilet training deaf toddlers, behavioral management and discipline. There's going to be a lot of counseling with group counseling, expert paneling counseling. I have always heard that it's very important that they teach about the IEPs and how they work, and teaching speech and language, what the state educational programs offer, and what the parent and child's educational rights. There's even the other things to make note of. There's a parent night, I believe, and Angie can correct me if I'm wrong on that. There will be one evening where you just forget about your kids and you forget about everything, and you go out and you have a good time and you interact with people that are going through the same life experiences. And I've heard, again, positive feedback that is just an amazing experience for these families. And mentioning the meals, there's no cost for meals throughout the week. They have different options. I myself have a food allergy, so I remember going there that it was very accommodating to anything anyone would need. And there's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, the entire time you're there, a health center for anything that might happen while you're there 24/7. The last group experience we'll talk about is the siblings. I really believe that the Institute values the role the sibling has in the family, and that they really strive to include the sibling in the experience. There are going to be recreational activities where they get to play and swim and go to the park and do fun things like that. Again, as I mentioned before, there's an educational coordinator, or I'm not sure her title, but that's been employed to work with these kiddos. And they're going to have an opportunity to learn about deafness and sign language in the deaf culture, but I think it's also huge and important for them to get to also interact with the other siblings that are kind of going through the same things. So it's really a holistic, where they really involve the entire family. The last day of the Institute, I believe they might call that graduation day, and that is the day where the parents are going to receive the information in a nice wrapped-up package of like a 10 to 13-page report that has all their child's evaluations and all the recommendations and everything that the staff made at the Institute. And the parents will get to leave with a booklet of information, phone numbers, and names of individuals who they can lean on and go to long after the Institute's over. And that's the one thing that I will say about the Institute that was the most, again, positive for me, is the contact that you see other families keep with each other. I last year went to the Guide by Your Side family walk, and there were two ladies there with their families, and I like to know things. That's why I'm a good family liaison. I like to talk and I like to learn things and know about people, and I just assumed they were family. They're chit-chatty, they're all together, and they said, no, we don't even really know each other. We met a couple years ago at the Preschool Institute, and we just vowed that every time that we could get together, we were going to get together. One was from Chicago, and one was from the Springfield area, and that confirmed and sealed the deal for me right there, that this Institute is powerful in the connections that it makes for people. And another key point to make is that DSCC strives to help the families after the Institute follow up with the recommendations that are made and really continue an ongoing care coordination relationship. So I think really to end, one parent summed up it as saying, we are taking a lot of knowledge, friendships, and good memories home from this place. Thank you for helping me see that my family can have a bright future. We also have a family liaison that was hired, Gina Jones, in the Chicago area, that she's part-time, and she helps out with this. And I stole a phrase from her that says that I want to help families see the possibilities in the disabilities. And I think that's another great way to sum up what PSDI does. It shows the families that we can do anything. So I think that it's a very unique opportunity. My follow-up information is I'm Violet Weicker, and then Gina is my counterpart in the Chicago area. Either one of us can be called, from professionals to families. If you're not with VSCC and interested in Preschool Institute, please shoot me an email, give me a phone call. I am here to be of service. So I look forward to meeting a lot of people at this year's. I will be there the entire week. So if you remember hearing my voice, come find me and say hi to me. And I think that I am done with my presentation, Carrie.
Sorry, I had to unmute.
You're all right.
All right. So a lot was covered. Are there any questions that anyone has? Or if you're on the call and you've had the chance to experience Parent Institute, if you wouldn't mind sharing about your experience, I'm sure that that would help as well.
And I know I talk fast, so if anybody needs me to go back and review something else or look at a slide, please let me know.
Hi, this is Kristen. I had a question just about the Institute. So you mentioned that there were the three parts, the parent part, the actual deaf or hard of hearing child, and then the sibling part. And I just wondered, how often do the parents actually see their kiddos throughout the day? Do they meet like for lunch? Do they see each other during any parts of the day, or how does that typically work?
I'm going to let Angie answer that. I can say yes, quite a bit, but she can answer probably that more specific interaction.
Yeah, this is Angie. So in the mornings, a typical schedule for the day of Institute is that you would get up and go to breakfast with your family, the entire family, and then the children are dropped off at two separate locations, whether they're the deaf child who's here or the hearing sibling who's here, and then the parents go to their morning classes, workshops, groups, whatever is on the schedule. And those last until about noon. So it's they start around 8:15, I think. I can't remember. Seems like we push the schedule back a little bit every year so parents can get there on time, maybe 8:15, 8:30. And then they end about noon, and then everyone is back together again for lunchtime. In the afternoon, then after lunch, the kids do go back to other locations. The parents have one more afternoon workshop right after lunch. And then there's a period of time, about a couple hours from like 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock, where there could be individual appointments scheduled for the families, which means you would have an individual appointment with like the psychologist if he or she evaluated your child that morning. So then you would get feedback about how the evaluation went, the speech-language pathologist, the audiologist. So individual appointments. You don't necessarily have an individual appointment every day. Some days you won't have any, and you would really have that time, 2 to 4, pretty free, and you could be with your children at that time. Some activities, we have a swimming pool, an indoor swimming pool on campus that we have open during the week from that time. You can also just go back to the dormitories, which we fondly and affectionately called Hilton, the ISD Hilton here. You can go back there and spend time with your children, maybe catch a nap if you're lucky and they're being cooperative. Then we have dinner all together at 5. And then after dinner, there is one more evening activity for the parents. There are 4 evenings that we have an evening activity. One of those 4 evenings is family friendly, and we ask that you bring your children with you. It's a language learning experience, so we have different games and stations set up, and everyone gets to play together. And then those activities end at 7:30, and after that, that's all we do. Everyone gets back together and heads back to the dorm and gets ready for bed. So there's a lot going on during the week. We have a lot of information to give to families in a relatively short amount of time. I know 5 days seems like a really, really long time, especially if you're just now considering coming to, I'm a mother of 5 children, and I know the thought of trying to give up a week in the summer to come to something like this is a little bit overwhelming. But really, it isn't even enough time for us to cover everything we need to cover, so we have a lot of stuff happening, but we do try to incorporate you definitely do see your child fairly frequently throughout the week, but there's a lot happening. Does that answer your question okay?
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Carrie. This is Jacqueline. I just wanted to add that our family attended Parent Institute. However, it's been almost 18 years ago. And just to let you know, I still have very fond memories of our family attending even that many years ago, and what I remember most about it is the wealth of information that was shared with us, and also that we are still in contact, still friends with some of the families that we met 18 years ago. So, it was just a very positive and wonderful week for our family to be there, and just really appreciated that it has been continuing as many years as it has so other families can continue to benefit from it. So thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, very good. I want to thank everyone for being on the call tonight, and thank you to Angie and Violet for spending your evening and sharing more about this very informational, educational, and I want to say fun. I haven't been able to attend myself, but
it's fun.
It is fun. See, I knew I wouldn't be wrong there.
Anybody who knows me knows it's at least a little bit of fun.
But I just want to stress, too, that we are very lucky to have something like this in our state. So if you are able to go and are considering it, I would definitely highly encourage you to check it out, get some more information, because really you have nothing to lose and everything to possibly gain. No matter where your child's at, no matter what choices you've made for your child right now, it doesn't mean that you're going to be forced to make other choices at this event. And so please don't think that that is in any way any intention. It is definitely informational and a way for you to network and just get a better glimpse of what is available to you and your family and what that future might hold. So with that being said, thank you again, everyone, for taking some time out on a Monday night to join us. And everyone have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, everyone. Night, Isha.